The Christmas snub, the final straw. The Christmas of 2019 is a moment that will forever be etched in royal history as the true starting gun for Megxit. What appeared to be a mere choice of desk decor for the Queen's annual address was, for the Sussexes, a devastating public statement of exclusion and hierarchy. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle last celebrated Christmas as part of the royal family, they were reportedly left furious over a snub by the late Queen Elizabeth in her annual address. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex sensationally quit their royal duties in January 2020, after one particular moment was the final straw for them just weeks earlier. The idea that a simple, inanimate object, a framed photo, could hold the power to act as the final straw speaks volumes about the immense psychological weight carried by every royal gesture. The Sussexes were already under immense pressure, reeling from media scrutiny and internal conflict. They were desperate for a sign of affirmation, a public endorsement from the matriarch. What they received, instead, was a public omission that felt like a calculated dismissal. In 2019, Harry and Meghan, with 7-month-old Prince Archie in tow, spent the festive period in Canada with Meghan's mother Doria Ragland, and they were allegedly tipped over the edge during the late Queen Elizabeth's Christmas broadcast. Their physical location, in self-imposed semi-exile in Canada, away from the traditional pomp of Sandringham, only intensified their focus on the television screen. Watching the monarch's message from afar, surrounded by the quiet familiarity of Meghan's family, meant they could scrutinize the broadcast without the distractions of the royal firm's inner circle. The distance magnified the perceived slight. As the monarch addressed viewers, family portraits were clearly visible on her desk. However, one was missing as there was no picture of Meghan and Harry with their then newborn son. This deliberate absence, this void in the visual narrative, was immediately interpreted not as a casual oversight but as a definitive, coded message about their place, or lack thereof, in the family's future. In the highly symbolic world of the monarchy, where everything from attire to placement is scrutinized by global media, leaving out the photograph of a great-grandchild and his parents was a profoundly significant act of delineation. Classical building the institution's logic versus personal pain. The revelation in the biographies highlights the brutal clash between the cold, systemic logic of the monarchy and the raw, emotional needs of its members. In the book Finding Freedom, authors Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand claimed the Sussexes believed the royal family were conspiring against them with the move. As they said, the couple felt they had long been sidelined by the institution and were not a fundamental part of its future. The use of the word conspiring illustrates the depth of their suspicion and alienation. They were not merely feeling left out, they believed they were being actively suppressed and strategically minimized by the very institution they had vowed to serve. Harry, the son of the future king, felt he was deemed expendable, a painful reality for someone who grew up believing in his intrinsic value to the crown. They wrote, "One didn't have to look further than the family photos displayed during the Queen's speech on Christmas Day. In the green drawing room at Buckingham Palace, where the Queen delivered her address, viewers glimpsed photos of the Waleses and their children, Charles and Camilla, Prince Philip, and a black and white image of George VI. Noticeably absent was a photo of Harry, Meghan, and their new baby, Archie. The careful curation of the displayed photographs confirms the palace's prioritization. The inclusion of the direct heirs, William and Catherine, Charles and Camilla, the beloved consort, Prince Philip, and a nod to history, George VI, created an impenetrable fortress of succession. The absence of Harry and Meghan, therefore, was a stark visual representation of their position outside this central, protected line. The authors explained the palace's reasoning behind the snub, as royal sources insisted the photos were chosen to represent the direct line of succession. However, Omid and Carolyn said Harry and Meghan felt it was yet another sign that they needed to consider their own path. The palace's justification, the direct line of succession, is the technical truth, but it utterly fails to account for the human cost. For Harry and Meghan, this technicality became an emotional exclusion order. The message was clear: your significance is secondary. This moment provided the moral clarity they needed. The only way to escape being continuously sidelined was to forge an entirely new destiny, confirming that their own path had to be entirely separate from the firm. Downward trend the road to exit, fracturing the foundation. The absence at the Christmas address was compounded by their physical distance, illustrating the extent of the divide that had already formed. During the 2019 Christmas period, the royal couple missed the Queen's pre-Christmas lunch at Buckingham Palace and were not present for the traditional royal family gathering at the monarch's private Sandringham estate on Christmas Day. It was the second time Prince Harry has missed spending December 25th with his immediate family, the first being when he was on a tour of Afghanistan while in the army in 2012. Missing Sandringham is not merely missing a meal, it is skipping the annual spiritual and symbolic core of the royal family's life. The heartbreaking comparison to his 2012 absence during his military tour in Afghanistan underscores the severity of the situation. In 2012, he was absent due to a profound duty to the nation. In 2019, his absence was a choice rooted in a desperate need for personal and emotional safety. In 2020, the couple decided to step back from life as senior royals and moved overseas to America, where they still live today with their children Archie and Lilibet. A year later, the couple sat down with Oprah Winfrey in a 2021 bombshell interview where they discussed their reasons for quitting royal life, while also hurling damning revelations and accusations at the royal family. The move to America marked their definitive break. The 2021 bombshell interview with Oprah was their retaliation, their opportunity to seize the narrative back from the institution. This was not just a discussion, it was an act of war, with damning revelations and accusations that sent shockwaves through the Commonwealth, making it clear that their pain was real and their accusations serious. Since then, relationships between the Sussexes and the royal family have been fractured, especially after the release of their Netflix docuseries in 2022, followed by Harry's memoir Spare in 2023, and a string of candid jabs at the firm during public appearances over the years. The legacy of that 2019 Christmas snub continues to unfold in real time. The subsequent Netflix docuseries and Harry's memoir, Spare, have ensured the relationships remain profoundly fractured. The book's title itself, Spare, perfectly encapsulates the feeling of secondary status that the missing photograph so powerfully communicated. The picture that wasn't there became the symbol of a rift that has reshaped the face of the modern monarchy.